Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Andrew Yang and specifically his path of peace that he displayed last night at the September 12th ABC Houston debate, and the three elements it brings up. I'm going to use a mnemonic to kind of whip through my points here. Trust right self. So let's start getting into this. All right. So last night, Andrew Yang continued to distinguish himself as really like no one else on that stage. So it was wonderful. The stage was only 10 people, and half the crowd has been swept away. There was so much less noise, right? Because there was no second night, right? Like literally, the world has said, if you're not one of these 10 people, you're not worth listening to. Amen to that. All right. So basically, Andrew Yang chose a path of peace. More than any other candidate, he did not attack the other Democrats on the stage. Like, he really was like, I am here. This is a path of peace. I'm trying to have unity with other Democrats. It was really, really different, right? And honestly, it was a little frustrating to me, but from the perspective of, not of being frightened and wanting those old tried and true methods of getting the media to pay attention to you, right? So I kind of wanted like, oh, hey, where's your sharp attack that everybody will cover today, right? And it wasn't there. There was this path of peace, right? So what does the path of peace mean? All right. So first thing it means is trust, right? So by the way, I fully think Andrew Yang was right. Right, and these three elements will tell you why his path of peace is right. So first and foremost, when you look at Andrew Yang and you look at the path of peace he's now embracing for his campaign and certainly for these debates. By the way, I'm talking about his language at the macro level. I'm fully aware. One, I think he attacks Trump even less than any other candidate. Certainly, right. I think he has I think Andrew Yang has less attacks on Trump than Kamala Harris had attacks on Trump last night. Like, it's in his entire body of work. It's ridiculous, right? So basically, he really is he's ratcheting down these attacks at the macro level. And if you look at his language at the macro level, there are exceptions, but at the macro level, it's really he's embracing a path of peace. Talking about his solutions and not talking about foibles and insults and a lot of other negatives on other candidates, right? So where is this coming from? Well, the reality is, at the end of the day, more than he's such a leader, right? So Andrew Yang is an incredible leader, and incredible leaders have trust. They have trust in themselves, then they have trust in their people, right? And the reality is, if you look, so first and foremost, if you look at UBI is an incredible statement of trust. It's saying, I trust every adult American with $1,000 a month at the macro level, right? And it's saying, hey, I think that if I give every American $1,000 a month, this country is going to be better, right? Because the reality is, many people be like, oh, the vast majority of Americans won't use it for something good, right? But the reality is, he believes in us. He believes in us as Americans. And he trusts us, right? And I there's something there, right? Because when someone who, frankly, is pretty exemplary, and he's amazingly exemplary. He's accomplished things in three different spheres that almost none of us have accomplished. He's accomplished in the education world. He's accomplished in the corporation world. He's accomplished in the benevolence world. And he's saying, I trust you. He's saying that to every American, and it has meaning. It has purpose. It has consequence. It's a huge statement. The other thing is he's trusting the American people for the long game, right? So this path of peace is going to take a long time, right? He's going to have to be in this election all the way up, right? And I think Yang is shifting into long game mode and saying, I'm going to be here for the entirety, and I'm going to get the people to see me a little bit at a time, because frankly, it's the only way to force the Yang media blackout to disappear, right? Because he is really fighting with one hand tied behind his back. Basically, the media has decided to tell you that Joe Biden is a good pick, even though we'd be looking at an 84-year-old president, right? Like, Joe Biden is the possibility of an 84-year-old president. An 84-year-old president. Like, come on. Like, do I need to explain why that's a risk? That's not safe for the candidate, not safe for the nation, right? 84-year-old president. It's astounding to me that people are like, yeah, this is a great idea. We should run right headlong into this. Like, oh my gosh. All right. So he has a lot of trust for Americans that they're going to see him over time. And I'm like, oh, I'm so worried. I can't see 6 months, 12 months from now. I can't see. I don't have the vision that Yang has. But that's a leader. They have vision. They can see the long game. They can play the long game. They have that type of endurance, right? And I continue to return to this. Like, Andrew Yang is a better man than me. He really is. Like, he's accomplished more. He has more patience, more wisdom, more intelligence. And frankly, I'm excited to vote for somebody who's worthy of the position I'm going to put them in, right? Because a lot of times I look at a candidate and I'm like, I'm better than that dude. And I also think I'm better than most of the women too, right? So let's keep it even, right? All right. So basically, in all seriousness, I absolutely, I'm making sure that I am paying hyper close attention to all genders in this debate and in this election. It's critical that all of us make sure we're checking ourselves at every step for bias, right? And correcting those biases and trying to see everybody fairly, right? Okay, all right, let's keep it moving here. All right, so he has trust for that the people will see him over time, right? He's being patient. He has trust for himself that he will be in this every step of the way, all the way up through the general, and that he will defeat every Democrat opponent and that he can defeat Trump. He believes in himself. He has trust in himself. Right on. He's doing fantastic, and it's good. He really has an amazing amount of trust. All right. Trust right self. Get right. Andrew Yang is saying path of peace. I'm going to do this. I am going to be president, right? Like, this is his subtext, in my opinion, right? He's saying, I am going to be president. I am going to do this. I am going to beat all the Dems, and then I'm going to beat Trump. But I am going to do this in the right way. I will not allow the media to change me. I will not allow the media to corrupt me. I will not allow the media to compromise me. That's what I hear through the path of peace. And I think it's really important, right? It's because it is so tempting to do what Julian Castro did last night and echo Harris from her. So Harris did a brutal, very bitter personal attack on Biden in debate 1. Last night in debate 3, Julian Castro made himself look like a mirror of Kamala Harris and did a brutal, bitter attack on a brutal, bitter personal attack on Biden, right? And I think it made both of them look small. I can't believe Julian Castro did it, because one of the things that's super clear is that Kamala Harris is paying a terrible, terrible price for her brutal, bitter attack brutal, bitter personal attack in debate 1 against Joe Biden, which actually was really fully attack on Barack Obama. And you saw Kamala Harris really backpedaling hard last night to praise Barack Obama, because she realizes all this terrible stuff she said about Joe Biden means that she is questioning Barack Obama's vetting of Biden, and she really looks like she's anti-Obama. And she's really trying to fix that. And honestly, I think Kamala may have lost so much ground she can't make it up. All right. Excuse me. All right. So Andrew Yang is saying I have to do this in the right way. Okay. Trust right self. Let's talk about self. So basically, Andrew Yang is so unique in his own personal being, in his own self. He is not like any other candidate. Julian Castro last night said, people believe that politics is dirtying and corrupting. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And every single candidate on that stage, except Yang last night, is absolutely marinated in Washington politics, right? And frankly, the stains are clear. They're so clear, right? But Yang strides forward from the sun-dappled plains of entrepreneurialism, right? He hasn't sat in a fetid swamp mire for 10, 20, 30 years like the rest of them. He comes forward as a good person, not a compromised politician. And frankly, that term is redundant, right? And I'm a firm believer now that no professional politician should ever be president again. Let's get it from the lay people. Let's get our presidents from our laborers, right? All right. So, but he is doing this in a truly unique way. The path of peace is totally unique, like Yang himself. He's like, hey, I am truly unique. I'm not like anybody else. I'm not a politician. I'm coming here with UBI, which is a platform change, not just turning the knobs on the existing system. I'm unlike anyone else, and the path of peace is unlike anyone else. We have never, ever seen a candidate like Yang. He is the most intelligent, the most wise, the most good-hearted. He is the future of this nation. And Lord help us if this country is not smart enough to see the gold that's standing in front of us. I agree with Yang. I think we're going to get there. I think everybody's going to come along. But each day I have to bolster my spirits because the Yang media blackout is so strong, and ABC and NBC and MSNBC and CNN and all of them work so darn hard to suppress him. And I know why they do. Yang will change this nation. Yang will change this world, right? We see Yang embracing the path of peace. He is a man of trust. He is a man who wants to do it the right way. He is a man who is who is presenting a true and balanced and useful self to the nation. And every single one of us needs to get ready to do everything we can to pave the road to the White House for him. I'm super excited. He crushed it last night. It was a really good night, and it's going to be great nights going forward. All that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your opinion. Let me know what you think of the path of peace below in the comments, please. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.